U.S. Social Security history. What is Social Security? It is social and is security in where and by what means and where does the funding come from. Brief organizational history. Social Security Administration, the SSA, began life as a Social Security Board, SSB. The SSB was created at the moment President Roosevelt inked his signature on the Social Security Act on August 14, 1935 at 3:30 p.m. That's important. SSB was an entirely new entity with no staff, no facilities, and no budget. The initial personnel were donated from existing agencies, and temporary budget was obtained by Harry Hopkins and the Federal Emergency Relief Administration. Frances Perkins, Secretary of Labor, offered one of her assistant secretaries, Arthur Altmaier, to be an initial board member, and she even gave her high-backed red leather executive chair to Altmaier since it had no furniture. The board itself consisted of 3 presidentially appointed executives and such staff as they needed to hire. On 7/1/1939, Social Security Board lost its independent agency status when new subcabinet of FSA was created. Federal Security Agency encompassed the SSB, the Public Health Service, the Office of Education, Civilian Conservation Corps, and Employment Services. On 7/16/46, the SSB was renamed Social Security Administration under President's Reorganization Plan of 1946. Altmaier, who had been named chairman of the board of SSB, became SSA's first commissioner. On 14/11/1553, President Eisenhower abolished the FSA and created the new Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, HUE. SSA was made part of this new cabinet agency. HUE was replaced by the Department of Health and Human Services on 5/4/80. SSA was a major part of the HHS until legislation signed by President Clinton in 8/15/94 returned SSA to its original status as an independent agency effective 3/31/95. SSA, the road to independence. Social Security began life as an independent agency in 1935, beginning a subcabinet agency in 1935 and returned full circle to independent status in 1995. Throughout the years, arguments have been heard by the halls of Congress that SSA should be returned independent agency status. This debate was given impetus in 1981 when the National Commission of Social Security recommended that SSA once again become an independent Social Security board. The 1983 National Commission on Social Security Reform, the Greenspan Commission, again raised issues recommending that a special study be commissioned on the matter. This special study was completed in 1984 and it outlined several options for making SSA an independent agency. This led to numerous legislation proposals ensuing years, and in 1994 the legislation passed both House of Congress unanimously. President Clinton signed the bill on August 15, 1994, 59 years and 1 day after FDR signed the original act. SSA brief narrative organizational history. How was it created and changed? 1983, Congressional Study Panel produced the following brief narrative history of the main organizational changes at SSA for 35 to 83. Committee on Economic Security, 1934. Social Security Board, 1935. Birth of the Bureaus, 1935. First Field Offices, 1936. Presidential Reorganization Plan Number 1, 1939 on. Establishment of new areas, offices, payment centers, 1942 on. Establishment of Social Security Administration, 1946. Changes in regional offices, 1948. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, HUE, established in 1953. Establishment of Division of Disability Operations, 1954. Division of Social Security in 2 parts. 2 parts. What parts were they? We already went through that. Program Bureaus established, 1965 on. Bureau of Supplemental Security Income, SSI, established 1973. The 1972 amendment was created Supplementary Security Income Program, and a new bureau was established in 1973. There remain only 4 program bureaus. However, for the fourth, the Bureau of Federal Credit Unions left the agency in 1970. 1975 reorganization of SSA. Huge reorganization. 1977. Functional reorganization of SSA. 1979. New appointed Commissioner of Social Security announced reorganization of functional lines. The intended result were to improve communications, policy development, and decision-making processes. 2. Eliminate duplication. 3. Elevate the field organization and back to mainstream headquarters activities. And 4. Consolidate system functions. 2 deputies were created, 1 for operations, 1 for program policy, as it should. And then, last but not least, the organizational realignment of SSA is 1980 to 1983, fine-tuning by succeeding commissioners who found the span of control too broad under 1997 reorganization implemented over the next 4 years. Efforts to modify the organization made it more responsive to changing the mission requirement needed resulted with the following changes. Consolidation of the public information and government affairs functions. The abolishment of the Associated Commissioner of the Operating Policy and Procedures, SOPs. And 3, the establishment of 4 deputy commissioners, including the 4 systems along another for management and assessment. And the 4th, creating 6 new associate commissioners, including 2 for systems requirements and integration functions, 3 for RSI, SSI, and DI programs, and 1 for the field. Now, what numbers does that count? You tell me.